Now this is the third guest speaker for today. He used to work in New York. Do you know what? He worked in the highest building in Manhattan. Do you know what is the name of that building? The tallest building in Manhattan. World Trade Center. And you know what happened with World Trade Center, right? So that is something happened to him. This is like he fly over from New York to Thailand. And today he are ready to share something to us. Never, never give up. Welcome, Dr. Bill ครับขอเสียงปรบมือด้วยนะครับ
Well, I was going to tell you that story about New York later. Dr. Kenny stole my thunder. Anyway, again, thank you for coming this morning. Yeah, I'm a lecturer here at Stanford in the MBA program and PhD programs at Times. I'm also a senior consultant for a renewable energy company, a public company here in Thailand. And we're doing business in Laos, Cambodia, Mongolia, and we're looking at Vietnam. I also do angel investing, in case any of you have the, how can I say, the urge to start a business. Now, just to give you some hope, out of 100 or 150 groups that we see every year, we maybe fund 2 of them. So you've got to have a great idea. Okay. I'm supposed to talk to you this morning about never giving up. Well, there's a reason for this. Actually, there are a lot of reasons. Number one, if you give up, how are you going to achieve your goals? If you have any goals in life, how are you going to get there if you stop? You quit. And you know, a lot of people don't realize it, but they start out and they have a goal, they're almost there, and then they quit. Why? You've come this far. I can use you as an example, right? You just never know. But to give up isn't an option. A lot of people that you know from history have never given up, and look what we have. We have lights. We have air conditioning. We have transportation. Think about if they gave up. Think about if Thomas Edison, after 100 tries for the light bulb, said, forget about it. This is just too much. We'd be sitting in the dark, or we'd be sitting there with candles. And we wouldn't have internet, so nobody would see us online. Now, another part of this is, if you give up, will you ever regret it? Will you ever regret it? Let's say you've got that great idea, and you work on it, you work on it, you work on it, and it just, I don't know, maybe you run out of funds or you run out of energy or something, and then you give up, and a month or 2 later, maybe you see somebody does something exactly like what you were working on. Regret. Oops, too late. I think for me, my life has been full of never regret. As Dr. Kenny said, I had a business in New York City and Florida for a long time. And I was going to work one morning, and TV was on, and I'm looking at the Twin Trade Towers, and it's on one tower had already been hit. I thought, well, that doesn't look good. And I ran up to the top of my building just in time to see the second plane go in. That pretty much was the end of my business. So you go through a long period in your life building a business, you're at the midpoint of your life, and all of a sudden, in a matter of an hour, your business is gone. Most of my clients were banks or brokerage companies, HSBC, Citibank, gone. Thousands of people killed. So what do? Do I give up? Do I say, okay, forget it, I'm never going to do this again, I'm never going to work in New York City again? I was lucky again, I reached out to my network, and one of my friends here in Bangkok said, hey, why don't you come to Thailand? And I'll join in. Land of Smiles will put a smile back on your face. You'll be happy when you leave. That was 23 years ago. And I have to say, home for Pasadena, my deep. Okay, so my Thai language should be much better after all this time. My point here is, I came to Thailand with the idea that I would stay here for a few weeks, maybe get my head back together and go home. Right now, I pretty much consider this home. The Thai people have been amazing to me. They gave me an opportunity to start again. They listened to me. They wanted to know what my experience was. In the same way that I wanted to learn about the culture more. I wanted to learn about what goes on here in the business world. Now, I'll preface that by saying, I was here in Thailand a long, long time ago. I don't know if any of you were old enough to remember the Vietnam War. I do. And you know what? If you're in a situation like that, trust me, you never, never give up. Because if you do, you're dead. So between that and the World Trade Center, I've had some interesting experiences. Really interesting. But you know, the bottom line is, you have to be thankful for what you have. If you're alive, you're mentally healthy, and you have friends, and most of all, you're happy. That should be your goal. Have you ever asked yourself truly, honestly, are you happy? You know, a lot of people you talk to them ask, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Fine, thank you. And you? Okay. Really? Really? Sometimes we have to look in the mirror and be a little critical of ourselves. But I think at the end of the day, it's important not to give up on yourself. Because there are other people that might be counting on you. And that's critical. That's really critical. I'll give you a couple other real-life examples. I'm involved in a coffee shop and a bar here. We've had a business downtown for about 10 years. 2 years ago, we moved out to the suburbs. It's a whole different aspect of business. My business partner is like, oh, this isn't as good as it was in the city, and he wants to quit. And I said, if you quit, what happens to me? What happens to my investment? Because I'm an angel investor, I want to know, when do I get my money back? And I finally convinced him, don't quit. The other two people that were very important in my life are my parents. These are people who led a really productive life. My father was an engineer, graduate from Harvard MBA. Terrific guy. And one day he had an accident at home. And he spent the next 30 years in a wheelchair. You can imagine. My mom, same thing. Very active, homemaker, but very active. And one day she came home with a diagnosis of breast cancer. I watched her fight that for 15 years. Never gave up. Never. Personality was still there. You know, fight. Sue. Yeah. You have to be a fighter. Not in a negative way, but in a positive way. Show people that you're committed to what you want to do. Show people that you believe in what you want to do. You know, when you started out in the pageant, it's like, wow, I've got all these other people that I'm competing against. You have to believe in yourself. That's not selfish. That's confidence. I tell my students here at the university, when you graduate, I don't care what your GPA is. Because guess what? In 40-something years that I've had a business, I have never, ever asked anyone who came to work for me, what's your GPA? I don't care. I'm going to pay you money. I want to know what you're going to do for the company and me. That's it. So at the end of the day, you're having a bad day, you don't have a dog, cat. Okay? Look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you really want to quit on what you're doing? So my bottom line is never, never give up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bu. Never ever give up.
Never.
Life is just another challenge for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Dr. Chalat gonna have some gift for you. Flower from grammarless of flowers. Never. You never? Okay. ช่วยตบมือหน่อยครับ And we have some gift from Stanford and Snake brand. Thank you very much, Bill.